Good day, everyone. My name is Carlos. I'm your co-host. Welcome to My Life Without Limits. I have the wonderful opportunity to have our second or first co-host, I should say, the number one in here, Miss Leah. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank
Yeah,
you.
are you
How are
enjoying?
you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
We didn't have any popsicles today as we did yesterday
No, yesterday
outside.
the Now Radio Truxicle was outside the building, so we went and got free popsicles. But we're
Yeah.
hoping and pretty sure that they're going to come to our picnic
Oh,
in
sweet.
July.
Yeah, because I think you were promoting
Yeah.
out there. That's good. It's good as you always do. Just going
Anything
and
I
promote.
see or find, I figure out how it'll benefit us.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
What can we
Otherwise,
do?
otherwise you're doing okay.
Yep.
Good. Good,
Yep.
good.
Perfect.
You do have an amazing guest coming up that you
Mhm.
actually, I don't know if this one you creeped out or if they creeped us out, one
I
of the
creeped
two.
her out.
Oh, good.
Yeah, thanks.
I kind of figured because you kind of creep people out, so and
Yeah.
that's part of your job. So it's I would love for you to see if you can introduce it to our audience, and we'll
Mhm.
have a wonderful conversation. So
Yes. No, it's one of those things again. I saw an article and I said, well, I look like I need to meet this person and they need to come on and tell us their story. So I am very happy to welcome Teneille Bradley here from Accessible Housing out of Calgary to come on and just let us know a little bit about herself and all the projects that you're working on. So welcome, Teneille.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me. What a great opportunity. So I'm really excited for this conversation.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, we love highlighting different organizations and businesses in Alberta and
Yeah.
just so everybody can see, what they're doing. So why don't
absolutely.
we just start with you telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are now?
Sure, I would love to. So I'm originally from Saskatchewan. So I grew up there and went to the U of S in Saskatoon. After I finished a degree there, I actually left for Australia.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was living there for quite some time. I was working predominantly in the settlement services space, so assisting asylum seekers and refugees with everything to do with
Wow.
settlement,
Mhm.
which also includes housing and people arriving with disabilities or different health that they needed help with. So I was doing that. And then while I was there, I decided to take a MBA, so a Master's of Business, which is sometimes a little bit unique for the nonprofit world,
Mhm.
but I think it is quite important. I always promote
Yeah.
revenue diversification for various nonprofits, just to ensure that regardless of the economic climate, that we can continue to serve the people that need help.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yes.
then following on from that, I decided I would like to be a bit closer to my family. And I made the move to Calgary. I picked a terrible month. It was, I think, February, and I went from plus 30 to minus 30.
Mhm,
And
Mhm.
but I've been here now for just over 4 years.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, and since I've been here, I've been lucky enough to work for Accessible Housing.
Wonderful.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah, you're the executive director, right?
That's right.
Yeah. I was looking through the website and you guys have a lot of really cool projects that you
Yeah,
do. And I was just really impressed with yeah, you're right. It's not just disability, but it's the chronically homeless and all
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. And I think that that's awesome to be there for them and to give them that, help there and that little bit of hope that they can,
yeah,
be in
thank
their own
you.
space. Yeah.
That is awesome. What it stands out to me because I had my parents here a few weeks ago, and well, actually, a couple of days ago, they just left back to Mexico, and they were very intrigued about how many homeless people we have in the Alberta province, including
Mhm.
in Calgary. So when it
Mhm.
comes to to seeing what you do is very stand out to me, that you guys help out the people that are unfortunately not as fortunate as us, so homeless, and that's very awesome that you guys are doing that. So
Yeah,
Yes.
we have a lot going on at the moment. So always, like Leah said, different projects on the go, you know, with the goal of assisting as many people as we can in Calgary.
Yeah, absolutely. And so because they've been around accessible housing since the 1970s, I think, somewhere in there.
Yeah, 1974. So
Oh,
next
wow.
year will be our 50th
Right.
birthday. So hopefully we'll be
Ooh,
able to do something exciting for that next year.
that would be very good. Yeah, ours will be coming up soon. We're since 1976, so we've got
Okay.
coming up.
Yeah,
Coming up
that's
pretty
great.
soon. So that's exciting. So did you, when you started with them, what was your, like, were you executive director right away, or did you work your way up?
No, yeah. So I started as the director of programs. And then when the previous executive director took another opportunity, the board asked if I would step in as interim executive director as they go through the formal recruitment process.
Yeah.
And I was, yeah, lucky enough to be selected through that process. So I formally took on the role in November of
Oh,
last year. So new to the role, but not the
no,
organization.
right, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that's a big role to be, and it looks like you have a pretty good team. I was looking, a strong
Yes.
female team working close with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And I love the one part on the website where you talk about people wanting to age in place, because we've talked a lot about that with we had Shift, their construction
Okay.
company, come on one day and talk about stuff and about how, yeah, people want to age in place these days, and housing should be able to accommodate that. But
Yeah, absolutely. It's, you know, with the housing market right now, it's definitely tricky for a number of individuals in terms of aging in place. Our one program that addresses that or attempts to address that is our RAD program. So it's residential accessibility design. So we transform homes and other spaces in the community into safer and more accessible spaces for individuals with limited mobility.
yeah, I love the
Yeah,
name of it because you can call it rad renovations. I thought that was cool. And I was like,
yeah, it's a
that
cool
sounds
name.
great, because it is. It's pretty rad that you can do that.
Yeah, it is. So yeah,
Yeah.
essentially someone will call us and we'll go into their homes and do a site assessment. Yeah, make some kind of recommendations. Typically, it would be people that are wanting a porch lift or a stair lift or a wheel-in shower. And then we connect them to contractors and oversee the renovation process from start to finish. And then hopefully they get to, you know, stay in their homes. And yeah, live there safely. We can also do, if people are renting, if we have permission from their landlords. So yeah, lots of different opportunities in that space.
So Teneille, you only do feedback or basically conversations with people who are already in a built house, for example, or would you receive people who are just thinking about building from the ground up, and then you can give them your feedback, you can give them your suggestion, connect them to contractors, or you are more focused on buildings that are already or places that are already built?
Yeah, Carlos, that's a great question. It can be new builds as well.
Okay.
So we have had a variety of builders reach out to us to review some blueprint designs. I mean, that's honestly best case scenario, because if you can start from the beginning in, you know, a great and accessible property, then it just makes it more sustainable for the long run. You know, sometimes we we get calls and then it's a little bit harder to redo something. And that's why we're always wanting to promote, principles of universal design, because again, they can really benefit everyone. It's not just people in wheelchairs, it's moms, pushing a stroller,
Yeah.
groceries in and out of the house.
Mhm.
It's just so applicable to everyone. Everyone's going to age, everyone's going to get older. So yeah, that's why we really try to promote it from that angle.
Nice. And is it only housing, or is it also a residential building, like a business building, like for example, like a grocery store not a grocery store, but like a building place. Is it also that, or is it only residential?
No, it's not just residential. That's our primary focus, but we've been involved in some community center
Okay,
projects
cool.
before. Yeah, and we've also helped some local businesses with some ramps. And again, they're really happy with it because it also increases the amount of customers that can access their
Yeah,
business.
absolutely.
Yeah, we talk
Absolutely.
about that all the time. And like, me being able-bodied, I always said, like, if there's a restaurant that is absolutely not accessible,
Yep.
even if I'm not going with Carlos or something that needs the accessibility, I won't go there, because why would I go there? I don't, you need to, so we talk about that a lot, about the accessibility of businesses and how they would be so like greatly supported,
Absolutely.
A
Yeah,
lot of
it's a win-win for everyone.
Yes, I
Absolutely.
agree.
A lot of buildings, a lot of old buildings, I don't know if in Calgary, but here in Edmonton, a lot of old buildings give you a little bit of a hesitant on renovations because of how old the building is or how much money it will cost for the building to renovate their space. Do you happen to have any awareness or any tips that you usually when those type of businesses or residential even places come to you and give you some sort of those type of challenges? Would you give them some sort of responses or some guidance on how to overcome that?
Yeah, again, great question. It is sometimes, more expensive to make some of those changes or start with some of those changes.
Mm-hmm.
We see that from builders' perspective because encompassing universal design, often the square footage has to be larger.
Mm-hmm.
So then the footprint needs to be bigger as well. That said, firstly, there are a lot of small things you can do, handrails, or just making sure if you are building a ramp that it's to code. There's always different government grants and funding opportunities as well for people who want it to be more accessible. And I think in terms of, people that are renting out units or homes, one thing is it's worth the investment because what we find is if you make the unit accessible, you really get long-term tenants
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
those people love where they live and they're going to want to stay. And there's so many small changes too, like for example, a porch lift, you can remove it. So there's a lot of things that aren't permanent fixtures either. So at some point, if you want to change or do a redesign, it's really easy
It's
to
easy to
do so.
change. That's perfect.
Yeah, I guess it would be easier than the other way around, right? It's probably easier to make it less accessible if you don't need the certain things than it is to make it more accessible, right? Because,
For sure.
that's cool.
Talking about grants, I'm guessing, or my understanding is your company also kind of can give suggestions of what type of grants people can take, right, in those particular cases. Because I've been having a hard time. Well, I took myself the possibility of looking for a grant for a particular place that I go to regularly, and I cannot find it here in Edmonton, but I keep looking. And some of these places are always saying, I don't know where to find a grant. I don't know if it's applicable for me because I'm a commercial business or I'm this and that. I always keep saying there's always possibilities on where you can do, and mostly when it comes to residential areas, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. again, through our RAD program, we do assist our families and individuals navigate some of the funding. So some people will be eligible for something called RAMP. So that's through the provincial government that's paying for part of the renovation. There's something called SHARP, which is loans if you're in the senior demographic for similar projects. A lot of builders or new developers at the moment, one aspect is a CMHC application. So in order to get that low interest loan and for the application to be approved, if you can prove that you meet certain accessibility standards for the project, you're given a higher rating and more preference for the grant or loan. So we do help navigate some of those as well.
That's awesome.
And you just work in Calgary, or do you guys help out across Alberta?
We're just in Calgary at the moment.
It's probably a lot, right? Because there's
It is, yeah.
when you're looking at the disability community and, you know, individuals without a home and seniors, and yeah, that's probably a lot. And it's just needed for people to have that place to go to start the process and understand what they need to do.
Absolutely.
I can imagine.
And I think right now it's estimated that there's over 100,000 Calgarians with limited mobility. And we also know that usually it's underreported. So there's probably more than that. Plus we know we have an aging population and growing population. So it's a lot of people.
It is. Wow. And you have a building, an assisted living inclusio. Is that how you say it?
Inclusio. Yeah.
Inclusio. There we go.
Yeah. So
we hear more about that.
Yeah, I would love to share about it. Inclusio is our building. It's off Confederation Park, and it is one of a kind in Canada. As right now, we're the only multi-unit residential building to receive a gold rating in accessibility. And yeah, in all of Canada.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So it's for adults with limited mobility. And right now it's 45 units. And it's, I'll give you guys a tour at some time. It's an awesome space. It's very innovative and we use a lot of technology. So opening doors, the lights, even the garbage cans can be done with voice command or hand motion or with using an app on your phone. It's a really cool spot. So we're really proud of it.
You say you have 45 units?
That's right.
You're going to be moving to Calgary, aren't you, Carlos?
Probably, yeah. I mean, yeah, probably with all those features, that's amazing. That's just awesome. It's even the garbage can. You can even for that it would be easier for everyone instead of going down and picking the bag up and hurting your back or something. It's even better to just So
and really we get inquiries from everywhere for people that want to move in, because it's also unique because we serve younger demographic of adults. Where, you know, unfortunately some people still need 24/7 care and support and they still want independence, but they also don't want to do like a seniors living as of such. Right. So there's not very many alternatives that exist, you know, in the market at the moment. So Inclusio is really special as it caters for, you know, the varying age ranges.
So my understanding, just to clarify it on my head, is so that building is for someone as an adult, even the younger adults to like older adults, but they don't make them sort of feel like a senior person, right? It doesn't make you feel like you're living in a senior place or in a senior home. The reason why I ask is because my biggest fear, and I had this discussion with my mom the other day, is that I grow older older than I am now. I'm old now, but older. And they would put me on a no offense to the people who are in the seniors home, I love that, if that's what they would like to, but I would probably freak out if they put me on a seniors place on my own and just leave me there for no reason. I don't want to be in that place. So your inclusion sounds like a dream place that you can come and and feel young, it doesn't matter how old you are.
It's truly fantastic. We have some residents in, their early 20s that are there, and they, get the support they need, and they still have the independence, and they go to university or have a part-time job or whatever else that might look like.
That is awesome. That's amazing.
That is.
So if they hear me moving to Calgary, you know why.
Yeah, exactly.
you know why.
Yeah, that sounds like a great place. And I mean, even like with that garbage can, a mom is carrying a baby or something, and sometimes at any time you just need that extra little bit. So, but yeah, I think that sounds wonderful. And I bet you it must be a real community in there. They must
get
along with each other, and and they hang out. We're all on the same journey.
And same, just for curiosity, is the unit only a single unit, or is it a double unit, like a double bedroom or a one bedroom? Or?
Yeah, they're all single occupancy.
Single units?
At
okay.
the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
The moment. Okay.
Oh, sounds wonderful. Where do you guys must apply for grants and stuff, but what do you do for fundraising? Do you host events?
We do. So we host an event every year called Dinner for Doors. So this year it's on September 28th. It's a really fun gala dinner evening. We also try to include like a experiential learning as of such. So in previous years, we've had participants wear admits for the whole dinner, so they could maybe experience what it might be like to have less dexterity, or we might have people sitting in wheelchairs instead of seats. So really trying to give just a small glimpse of the challenges that people face that we don't really think of unless we're actively participating in something like that. So yeah, that's our fundraiser.
I should tell the events team. We have our gala coming up in October.
Maybe
because we used to do like a challenge event, like the run walk and everything, and there was a wheelchair challenge, and companies would get a team together and go. One person would be in a wheelchair, and then they'd have to do different tasks, trying to just get that little taste of what it's like. And yeah, we really enjoyed doing that. It was fun. A lot of people were like, yeah, that was hard.
Yeah,
so hard.
Usually it's what people remember too, because when you say, oh, Dinner for Doors is coming up, they're like, oh, I went 3 years ago and I had to eat my meal with a whisk the whole time, and it was so challenging, but it really sticks with people.
You know what? Yes, because that's the best way to get it to really get through to people, is have them just experience a little bit of that, because I mean, it could happen to any of us.
Exactly.
You never know.
And let us know again when it comes closer, so we can promote it all over our social media. Leah will do that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Leah will
sure, I would love that. That would be great.
And then it will be awesome. It sounds like a very awesome experience. I would love to go.
Yeah, it does.
For sure.
I know. I like that. Do you have some pretty good relationships with contractors that you recommend people to, and you must, just have a good roster? That's really good. That's a good thing to have for people, like,
Yeah, absolutely. We have some great contractors, especially for our RAD program. They're really people that want to be involved in the community and social impact as well, because they are quite smaller scale projects. So it's not, these really large projects, but the people that we work with are really fantastic. So
and are you always looking for more contractors, or are you just stick with the ones that you have?
Yeah, we're always looking for
Okay.
more.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
more partners, more people to work with, and the more the better.
That's right. And then
More the better.
I think that's the approach we have to take. We're trying to accomplish all of these big goals, and really the best way to do it is a collaborative, collective. Let's bring everyone in. Let's work
Yep.
smarter, not harder, and see what we can accomplish that way.
Yeah. At Cerebral Palsy Alberta, we're the same. It's just,
Yeah.
we love to collaborate, and I'm on social media. I love promoting what everybody's doing and just rooting everybody on, because I mean, whatever they're doing, it's going to benefit our community and our clients. And if we can't, have that program ourselves, we want to make sure that our clients know where to go, and, if we can't do it. So love that. Collaborating is good.
Yeah, you guys do great work too. I follow some of your programs and everything else.
Oh, thank you. I've been
Thank
getting into doing more reels for Instagram.
Okay.
And so I'm always on the programs team. I'm like, take as many pictures as you can and take videos. I want it all. And there's been some videos that are coming. I'm just like, oh, I just love it watching kids do gymnastics and just doing so many things that they maybe thought they could never, do at some point. And yeah, I just really love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Reels are great. They're just so interactive, and they give you a really cool picture of what's happening rather than just reading an article or something like that. So
yeah,
So-
I'm finally getting into that.
Teneille, just talking about that, is there a story that you remember, or probably there's a lot of stories that you might remember of a successful story or story that stick to you or to your company about what have you done? Well, I'm pretty sure you have done so many things, but is there a story that you would like to share that you have experienced in the last, I don't know, in the last couple of years?
sure, yeah, there's been quite a few. One would be that we had a resident at Inclusio, and he did graduate from university, and essentially he was saying it wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for accessible housing and Inclusio, because it really provided him the support and the care he needed, so he could build up that strength and independence and pursue what he was really passionate about. So there's a lot of stories around themes like that. Or with our RAD program, there was one client where it was a 2-story house, and he couldn't get up the stairs, and up the stairs was where the bedrooms were and the bathroom with the shower. And so for years he basically slept in the armchair in the living room, and his wife would give him like a sponge bath because there was no shower on the main floor. And then it's just so beautiful. It was like for the first time in years, now that he has a stair lift, he can use the shower and sleep in a proper bed, and just really cool success stories like that. So
That's amazing.
So nice. Yeah, as much as his wife probably, didn't mind doing that, it's still a lot for a caregiver. So I can imagine just that one little task or two that she doesn't have to do anymore, like that would be just.
And even for him, because to feel it, like to go up is to feel independent somehow. You don't necessarily have to have your wife. Again, you don't mind your wife giving you a sponge bath for sure, but you don't necessarily have to have your wife giving you a sponge bath when you can have a chair that will let you go up, and then you can go and take a shower up there. It's just amazing. I can't imagine if one day when I hurt my toe, Leah, I mean, you saw that I hurt my toe. I couldn't take a shower for one day, and I was already freaking out. I was like, I can't do this. And and it gives you a little bit. Well, it gives me a little bit of anxiety. It gives me a little bit of a of frustration of not being able to do that. So I can imagine this particular individual just saying, finally I can get into the shower and taking a proper shower. It's just like really, really awesome. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also from the safety angle for
Mhm.
for both the individual and the caregiver.
Yeah.
We don't want people to, put themselves in dangerous situations of trying to lift someone up the
Mhm.
stairs or, someone to fall, etc. So it really adds a lot of safety and well-being to everyone living there.
What if you have a person, this is maybe a little bit off topic, but what if if you have
Sure.
a person that is a little bit stubborn, like
You.
I'm talking about myself here, who
Okay.
who sometimes they tell you not to go up the stairs, even though they're dangerous and you still go up the stairs,
Mhm.
and then you end up almost falling or
Mhm.
actually falling and
Mhm.
scraping your whatever your arm. Have you had those type of persons who are like, I don't want to do, like, I don't want to listen as much, or I want to be stubborn a little bit, and they're like, they realize, like, I have myself of like, I should have listened instead of instead of
None that actually come to mind right away. But also I'm not there, all the time.
All the
We
time.
just help with the project in people's homes, so we don't really see what
Yeah.
happens on kind of the day-to-day
True.
basis. But
Yeah, Carlos, you lived in a house with stairs for a
Yes, I
long
did.
time, right?
For about 5 years. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you would have to.
And my mom even this time, I have a shower with a bathtub, and my mom
Yeah,
always says, "Why do Canadians have showers and bathtubs
I know.
in most of the houses?" And so I was able to convince my landlord to put two handles, one in the outside and one in the inside, to go up the shower.
Yeah,
And so my mom, this time that she was here, uh, like she just left on Sunday. She every time she comes out of the shower, she goes, "I really hope you're not rushing when you come out of the shower, because when you
Mhm.
rush, this is actually pretty dangerous." And I'm like, "Mom, I've been doing it for like 3-4 years already, so I kind of know what's happening there." But it's true, because sometimes you look at the clock and you're like, "Oh, it's like 2 o'clock and you need to be somewhere in 2:45, and you rush and you could generate an accident and you don't notice because
yeah,
you think it's an absolutely thing." But once she said, once almost every Canadian house has a bathtub, it
Yeah,
realized to me that most of the places have a bathtub. So I'm
yeah.
like, I wonder why they don't put a regular shower. And then I'm thinking maybe it's the wintertime thing. That's why they have those, because
Oh, good. Yeah, maybe.
in the
Uh,
wintertime you can have a
I
bath,
don't
right?
know.
So
I'm sure it was just for space wise, they probably did that. But yeah, I mean, we never use our bathtub. I would love to have a stand-up shower. But yeah, it is. Yeah, just a tub, and you're right.
yeah, that's what I'm.
Carlos, where was your mom visiting from?
She's from Mexico. Like my family lives
Okay.
in Mexico, and we barely don't have like we don't necessarily have bathtubs in
Right.
Mexico. So
Yeah.
we in fact, when my mom was building the shower she did a renovation a long time ago when I was probably how old I was probably 17 years old, and she did a renovation on the washroom. She said, "I'm gonna make a shower. It doesn't matter how small it is, because it's easier for you to get in." So she's always thinking about what's easier for my son to get in, right? And when
Mhm.
she comes along and saying, why do you got into this place that has a bathtub on when back at home I create a shower for you?" And I'm like, well, I can't come to the landlord and say, "Hey, can you please like take this off and put actual shower?" Because again, it comes to what you're saying, Teneille, with the blueprints, and it has to be more space, and it might not be space, right? But she's right. It's harder to get up those bathtubs than it
Yeah.
is not, right? So
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
was
yeah.
this
You should.
accessible housing that you have, the innovation one? Do you have like open concept shower, or is it more like whatever, what type of bathroom or showering is all that? Just curious to know.
Yeah, so it's barrier free and you can wheel in, so
Oh,
it's just
cool.
flush to the surface.
Cool. I'm
Mhm.
definitely moving in.
You know, it's looking better and better.
I'm definitely thinking about it.
Either that or you guys might need to expand.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we do
That
have
would
a
be great.
friend who is in her late 20s now, or maybe early 30s. Sydney, I can't remember how old she is, but she lives in a senior's residence. And it's
Okay.
like, girl, you should be out,
Yeah,
you know, just amongst people her own age and stuff, you know.
I
For
think she's
sure.
29, and
Is she 29? Yeah.
that makes me a little bit sad because I think she should be, she should be in a place like the one that you're describing that you have,
Mhm.
because it's
Mhm.
it's people her own age, right? It's people
Yeah.
her own age. Again, nothing against people who are seniors, but
No, of course.
have to be in your own you want to be in your own age kind of thing to think about, to
Yeah.
have fun, and
Well,
I think she's
yeah.
been there for 8 years,
Yeah, a
maybe.
long time. So she was
Mhm.
really young. I would do okay in a senior's residence because I like to do puzzles and knit and all those things. So I would do okay. I
Right.
am an old lady in my soul.
I
Yeah,
do have one more question, Teneille. In my own
sure.
perspective, there has been a lot of situations, which it might be a hard topic to talk about, where comes with staff, where staff doesn't give the proper care sometimes to an individual, whether it's a senior or whether it's an individual with a disability, who do not give the proper care, not because they might not want to, but they might not feel like they have enough and proper time management to be able to handle all the amount of people they need to handle, right?
Right.
I haven't been thankfully in those places, but I
Mhm.
know a few people who have been in those places who have complained about the staffing and about mostly about the scheduling part of it. How do you as an organization advise people, or even in your own setting, when it comes to your staff, so that all your 45 tenants or even more people that you might handle receive the proper care, and they don't get denied with that from that care?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a great question. And you're right, Carlos. You know, you do hear about it from varying different places. I think during COVID, it was especially difficult, I think, for some organizations because there would be health regulations where it was a one site rule. So where healthcare aides could only work on one site, where many of them, maybe it's a larger organization that owns multiple sites.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there was an element, not for us because we just have the one, but of people being short staffed.
Mhm.
For accessible housing and inclusio, we've been extremely lucky. We have a great staffing complement and we have really good ratios. So we always make sure that there's enough people that are in the building and able to assist people with whatever, they need assistance with.
Mhm.
What I would recommend though, if anyone was in that situation is definitely to make it known. So to go through, whatever the appropriate channels are. So letting management know,
Mm-hmm.
advising whoever else, because everyone's entitled to great care. And so I
Mhm.
think if you're not getting that, you should say something.
Yeah. You can call Cerebral Palsy Alberta.
Well, you can definitely call
We can
us,
help
and
you.
we
Yes, our
we
social workers, our support team can help with that. We've
Mike
done it
can.
before and we'll be doing it again, I'm sure. So, yeah.
Some people
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
ashamed of speaking up, and I have that.
Mhm.
I have that also situation where I put myself in their shoes, and sometimes you feel ashamed of speaking up
Right.
of you don't want people. Well, what if somebody else has a situation worse than I, or
Mhm.
or what if I get kicked out of this place? What if there's so many people that might feel hurt, like not able to speak up, and I would like to encourage people to, like you're saying,
Mhm.
Neil, to speak up, and call us, or call even your own government close together, so then they can help you in a way, because that's your human right. I mean, denying you from the essential care, it's a human
Mhm.
right thing, right? That's the way I see it, right? Essential health, essential care is a human right thing. Like if you're not able to shower and they're denying you to shower, it's something that I cannot imagine, and it has happened to people, right? So
Mhm.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, it is sad,
Yeah.
you know. So where do you see accessible housing in like 5 years? What is some big goals that you guys have that you're raising money for and really hoping come true?
Yeah, so we're still working on our strategic plan, but ultimate goal will be expansion in
Mhm.
some way, shape, or form. So hopefully we'll be able to work on some things where we can serve the wider population at the
Mhm.
moment. Because yeah, like I said, there's so many people that need help right now. And so we're really looking at what makes the most sense for the organization. We're also being really intentional about what our next project looks like. We just want to make sure it's exactly what the local community needs.
Right.
You know, some people I think can jump to projects and then be like, oh, well, actually there's a greater need in this space or this space. It's tricky too when it comes to accessibility because it looks so different for everyone. For example, an easy example would be, you know, someone in a mechanical or like automatic wheelchair and opposed to a manual one, you sit at different heights. So, you know, a lowered sink, for example, might not work for someone else. So yeah, we're really trying to be intentional about who's in the greatest need and what the family composition looks like as well. For example, is it more units or more spaces for individuals? Is it more homes for families? What exactly does that look like?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the overall goal. And then also through our RAD program, we've been trialing out a bit of a social enterprise. So again, looking at businesses and developers and how we can potentially help them in a fee-for-service model that we could then utilize to put back into the program
that's
to be
awesome.
able to assist our low-income families. So just looking at different innovative ways that we can continue to be resilient and able to make the greatest impact.
Yeah. Yeah, we do that
Well,
with our clothing donation program. It's that
Yeah.
social enterprise, and it funds quite a bit of our programs. And so, yeah, we're always thinking of other ones too. We're always like, oh, what else could we do just to, I don't know, because you never know what's going to happen. It's like we know with the pandemic, things could change tomorrow. So it's like we're always trying to be a step ahead. And we've been working on our strategic plan for years too. It's so tough. And I think we finally, because, you know, with our name, Cerebral Palsy Alberta, like we serve all disabilities. So we're trying to really let people know right now, that's our big goal, is to say we're more than our name. And you know, we can help anybody with disabilities, doesn't matter. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great.
How would you keep yourself or your staff, your mental health side of it? Because I know it's huge, and it's been huge since the pandemic and even before the pandemic. But since the pandemic or from the pandemic onwards, people are starting to think more about mental health, mostly in the public health sector or in the accessible sector, where people are always constantly, helping out, and some of them are burning out because of the amount of work they're doing. How would you keep yourself, including your whole entire staff, the people who are working with your individuals, who are getting assisted in the RAD program, the mental health part of it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think extremely important. I think every organization and company should be spending a lot of time and resources in this space because it is so important. At Accessible, we've done a number of wellness initiatives. So whether that's bringing in certain training, We have a really great employee and family assistance program that offers all of our staff and their families free counseling. So over the phone, in person, etc. During the pandemic, we started a social committee. So something, again, that's just a little bit more fun, and you can, you know, meet with your colleagues and have a laugh or do something fun. So I think it is so extremely important. And then just encouraging people as well to, you know, take your holiday days, take a break, do all of those things, because we know that people aren't at their best if they don't have that work-life balance. So it's something that we always really encourage.
Yeah, that's good. That's a great way. It's great employee retention and stuff.
Take notes, Leah. Take notes. We have
I know,
to
because we're working on a workplace, we're an
Okay.
affiliate of United Cerebral Palsy in the States, and they've gifted us a training program about workplace resilience and well-being. So I'm part of the core team that takes this 3-hour training once a month.
Okay.
Then we get together and talk about different things that we can do and survey the staff to see how they are. And so certain things I'm like, hey, mental note, that's a good idea, because we have wellness days, health and wellness days, where we can take a day off and treat ourselves to something. And we're working hard on that. It's important.
Yeah, it's very important, and we're doing a very good job. Our management team is doing a very good job when it comes to mental health. I think even before the pandemic, but during the pandemic, I can see a huge positive change for sure in that aspect of us, the employees. But at the same time, I want more Uno playing. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yes.
No, just kidding.
More what? Sorry, Uno?
More Uno playing.
That's
Calgary
fun.
office often play Uno at lunch, I believe.
Yeah, they do.
And
shout out to the Calgary office and the staff who plays Uno in the lunch breaks.
They're encouraged definitely to have their lunch break and actually do it, have it together, and all of that.
Yeah, I love that. That's fun.
That's awesome.
So before we get to our question that we end everything with, I did want to ask really quick, was there any big differences you noticed between Australia and here when it comes to housing and stuff? Was there anything that you were like, in Australia was like, oh, we need to, you brought it over, maybe to Canada? Or because I know we're kind of, all this, we're in the monarchy or whatever it is, we're under the same thing now, and we always wonder how similar we are to places like that. So was there anything that really just stood out?
That's a good question. As far as accessibility and accessibility standards go, I would say we're quite on par. I've traveled to various other places where they're better or they're a lot worse, but for those two, probably quite on par. I think in terms of nonprofits, Australia has been a bit more ahead, especially from the legality elements. For example, social enterprises. Here, it's still a relatively new topic. So it's about how can you make an income and still be a charity, etc. So there's a lot of policy, I think, that still would need to be tweaked here to give organizations more flexibility in that regard. But I would say, pretty on par. But
I know they're the Cerebral Palsy Foundation that's there that we had worked with a little bit with World CP Day. I'm always like, how are they doing this? Like they just, they're just so strong, in what they're doing. So it's fun to follow along and just kind of be like, oh, what you're doing. Oh, how can we bring that to Canada?
Oh, absolutely.
Take mental note again when we're looking at those. It's like, oh, I like this. I like this.
A good idea.
But no, it's a good idea, and there's always amazing things happening all over the world. So it's cool to follow and see what we can steal for our benefit.
Yeah, exactly. So
not stealing, borrowed.
I'm sure.
Take inspiration from.
I was going to say they would probably love to know that someone did
I
a
think so.
similar idea, right?
I
They'd
think
be
so.
like,
Absolutely.
"Oh, we started it." Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Life Without Limits is what we are all about. And it sounds like through your work, you are really helping people, to get to the point where they maybe feel they're living, a life without limits.
Yeah.
But what does that mean to you? And do you feel that your life, you're living it without limits?
Yeah, that's a great question. Life without limits, I would say for me, is a community or a society where each individual, regardless of their circumstance, can live a fulfilling life. And I think fulfilling as in people are not just coping, like people are able to thrive, right?
Yeah.
In terms of myself, I do try to live life to the fullest and see challenges as opportunities for growth or change. But it's still a really big goal of mine to be a stronger advocate for people with limited mobility. I think as a society, we still have a way to go to ensure that we have equal opportunity, but I really hope to be able to make a contribution in that space, or especially in Calgary. So
I
it's
think you are. Yeah.
oh,
Oh, you're
You are.
absolutely, you're doing a
Definitely.
fantastic contribution. You're almost convincing me to move to Calgary.
I know.
That's true. Well, you'll have to let me know if you're ever visiting, and
Oh,
we can meet
absolutely.
up or give you guys a tour or
That
something
would be
like that.
great.
Absolutely. I still have to come down and see our own renovations in the main office in Calgary that
Yes.
happened, I think it was last 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was, the
When-
renovations took
almost-
longer than we had thought, but yeah, they really, upgraded the accessibility and, the
Oh,
spaces
good.
in our offices, widening the doors, and
Awesome.
the downstairs washroom that was accessible, but now it's like ultra accessible, and
We have
new
an adult
elevator
we have
and
an adult table on the
adult
washroom,
change
right, Leah?
table.
Adult change table?
Yeah.
Which I never would
Oh,
have thought
okay.
about it until somebody brought it up, and I was like, well, that's a great idea. 'Cause
Yeah.
what if I need? Oh, thankfully I don't need it, but what if I needed it? And some other
Yeah.
people needed it. So that's a great addition that the Calgary office has. So
Yeah, we are
Yeah,
lucky to
that's
know
wonderful.
people. Sean Crump, who I'm sure you must know,
Yeah,
is on
yeah.
our board. He's our board president. So we're lucky to
Oh,
have
okay.
him to look to say, this is what we're thinking of doing. And yeah, he was so helpful in helping us make a space that, is 100%
Oh,
accessible.
that's fantastic. Yeah, Sean's great. So
Yes.
that's
yeah,
cool.
he's fantastic.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
he is.
Well, thank you, Teneille, for that answer, for that question, and for all your time with us. I think
Mhm.
it's been so informative and so nice to have this conversation with you. Mostly because now I want to come and see your spaces because
Yeah.
it sounds so great. And
Yeah.
I think people who are in Calgary should connect with Teneille and accessible
Mhm.
housing, because it sounds and it seems to me from when we're looking in the website and everything that they have a fantastic staff and a fantastic spaces. So feel free to visit accessible housing in Teneille, and if you have any questions, she's available for you guys. So
Absolutely.
and Leah will actually put the description, everything of your description,
Yeah, your
for
website
people
and
to see
social
it, the
media.
website
Awesome.
and
Mhm.
everything, so people can find you and locate you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Leah. Do you have any last minute questions? Last
No,
second
I
question?
think that's it. We talked
Yeah.
about quite a bit.
Yeah, we
It was
did.
good.
So thank you.
Well, yeah, thanks to both of you. It was an
Oh.
absolute pleasure speaking with you today and being invited on your show. So thank you.
Oh,
Thank
happy
you
to
so
have you
much.
here.
Very, very happy to have you. Thank you so much. And for the rest of our audience, thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. Once again, visit
Thanks, Mom.
Accessible Housing and visit our Instagram, and make sure to take advantage of our Instagram page, take advantage of our invitations. We don't bite, we only
Nope.
bark. No, we don't bark either. And feel free to connect with either myself or Leah
Yes.
if you want to be a guest, or otherwise Leah will definitely look you up.
I'll
'cause
find you somehow.
That's what she does.
Somewhere.
She's secretly a detective, other than other hats that she use. So I would recommend you to look for us first. But if not, she will definitely look for you, or I will look for you too as well. I'll be looking, keeping my eyes open. So, but thank you so much, everyone, for listening to the show, and hope you have a wonderful day. Make sure to live your life without limits. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mm.